I gotta say, what we just witnessed at the end of this latest Aristocrat episode is just peak. Just a peak isekai moment. Something you don't see often, and honestly, probably don't see ever or very rarely in the world of Aristocrat. Which is ours personally handwriting dozens, if not hundreds of letters to families of fallen soldiers so that they know both how they fell in battle, but what they did to hold the line. Which, in our own world, obviously, if someone, a family member does end up dying, their spouse, their significant other, their emergency contact, they do get notified, right? But it's something that you have to imagine for a medieval time period, because that's really what it is. The right hand to a king, a super high-ranking general. Would they get notified? Probably. But your general foot soldier? Most likely not. So the fact that Reitz walks in, and you really have to commend this. It's easy to forget where Reitz came from, which was the side of a road. No one cared about people like him. And the fact that ours has never changed his core belief, which is everyone's equal and should be treated as such. Ours handwriting hundreds of letters so that the families know who fell in battle and so that they're not left wondering, because 6 months from now, a year from now, when the war's officially over, they realize their loved one's been dead for that long. Instead, thanks to your husband, brother's sacrifice, right, we're able to continue pushing forward. And the fact that Reitz is the one who walked in on him, something that Reitz never would expect anyone, let alone ours, to probably be that selfless. And yet, there he is. It's just such a touching moment, and I'd go as far to say that's a top 5, if not top 3, ours moments in Reincarnated Aristocrat. I got those full live reactions over on Patreon if you want to see me break this show down in real time, over there exclusively. So, they did bamboozle us. They did. So, I was pretty much 100% confident the wife would live. The wife and the kid. Pretty sure on that. Maybe 99%. Like, there was enough, maybe not. Dying in childbirth, possibility. Or maybe getting stabbed. It's a possibility. The husband, that was a 50-50 for me. But they had me going. So, I watched these episodes with headphones, right? You may not realize it. I don't know how it sounds on TV speakers, computer speakers, whatever. As the kind of fading scenes happening, he's basically, because, he has a wound on his back, right? They're pretty much establishing that if he falls asleep now, he's not waking up. Like, this will be his death. And what happens is he's slowly approaching the pearly gates, and the audio gets quieter and quieter, almost like we're losing our hearing. And if you wear headphones, it really does feel like we're losing our hearing with him, and it just added to the whole atmosphere of it. And the fact that the wife grabs, I thought he was a goner. I did. I thought to myself, the only way he comes to is if he hears the crying of his kid. But I thought to myself, there's no way we would, because one, I figured we were farther away than I guess we actually were. But no, it's the wife's hand, and then the fact that she says, hold your kid, and Buddy gets up like his second wind. And honestly, it was just a really nice moment, because I saw a lot of people saying they both were gonna die. At least one of them was gonna die. And there was no way we were having a happy ending for that family. But lo and behold, we had a happy ending for that family. And I really like that, because the show does have me a little concerned when it comes to cool characters. Because when you look at, say, ours' father, dude was a badass. But here's the thing. Could you really have a badass like ours' dad and Lord Curran on the same screen? The big dick energy would just be competing. So they had to kill ours' father to allow us to have Lord Curran. So I'm thinking and getting fearful. I'm like, well, this dude's clearly a badass too. But if we're going to have a demon mercenary who can one-shot the enemy, they're going to have to kill him too. But somehow they said, you know what? It's okay. He's going to be more of a family man, so the demon can have the spotlight all to himself. Because, Jesus, man, that dude is... He grabs... The grip strength alone to grab someone's face and hold them up is one thing. He did that with a dude wearing a helmet. This is the man who was the inspiration for steroids, I'm convinced. And it's the fact that I don't know if it's the weapon. I don't know if it's his talent. I don't know what, but he was cutting through metal. Swords, shields. Yeah, the shields are wood, but there's metal outline to it. The big enemy general comes in. One-shot KO. And one thing that caught me by surprise with that dude, a little more humanity than I was expecting, because given last week, he seemed like a psychopath, like a sociopath, the freak of nature. Legitimately like the dude who was apparently on par with Reitz. Granted, this episode kind of clarifies, at face value, him and Reitz are equal in strength, but Reitz has more of critical thinking and can think long-term, which is why he got the W the way he did. But either way, like, he actually looked at him almost like a parental figure, and he's like, I refuse to let you take your life. You're the one thing that kind of gave me happiness. And I thought that was a touching moment. Wasn't expecting it, but, you know, they definitely handled something that I thought was just going to be more generic evil in something that felt more interesting for a military story. And honestly, the way they got them to separate was pretty brilliant, so ultimately, any smart general is going to pull away because they can realize they're being led into a trap. So how will you get people to do this? Well, you have a couple of your own soldiers dressed up as them, and they charge in because they have the taste of victory. So I'm not going to let the general get away, and then the other people start following because you think I'm going to get left behind? Because they're not worried about losing at that point because they've really suffered no losses, especially if you took a third of their forces out. Pretty brilliant play. It's very simplistic, but if you look at some of the great epic battles of, you know, long forgotten times, I mean, a lot of like Alexander the Great's victories, as an example, were pretty basic maneuvers, but at the time were kind of revolutionary. I appreciate it. I said last week, this is an isekai that understands war, and I stand by that statement. Do I wish the production was a bit better? Yeah, I definitely think the cracks are starting to show more and more of these episodes, especially with so many 3D moments because there's just so many characters on screen. But I don't think it looks ugly. This isn't the Newgate. This isn't, like, some people I definitely think are overreacting with how bad it is. But yes, does it look worse than Season 1 at this point? I would say yes. But it still moves well. It's just the 3D and art can be very noticeable that it's not really the sharpest around, but, you know, it is what it is. Either way, this is definitely my favorite arc of the show. It feels like we're just getting started, and the war, despite having a massive victory, plenty of battles to come, and damn, Ars' legacy. I really feel like Ars is going to have an Alexander the Great level legacy. Let's be honest. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell. And like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Tony Neal, Bassman 280, Waka, Merc, Sebastian Just, and we also have Fear Machine. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and for the love of God, I said it last week, if you got the pregnant person and you're rushing for safety, pregnant person goes first. It would have saved so many issues. I'm still dying on that hill. Have a good one.